So, welcome back students. Today we are going to discuss a new topic of class 9 chapter 1, that is motion. So, we were studying in the previous classes about the distance time graph and the displacement time graph, as well as we have also studied about the velocity time graph. Now in this video we will discuss some more points regarding these graphs. So the points that we had left in the previous class we are going to discuss here. So in the last class we had discussed the distance time graph and displacement time graph. Distance time graph or displacement time graph, because when the object moves in a straight line, the distance or the displacement covered by the object are always equal. That's why we can say that the distance time graph or the displacement time graph both are same if object moves in a straight line. So distance and displacement will be same. Okay, so we have studied about it. Now one more, we had discussed three cases in this. When the object is at rest, so what type of displacement or distance time graph we get, we have seen. And when the object is moving with uniform speed, then what kind of graph we get, that already we have seen. And also when the object moves with non-uniform motion, with non-uniform speed, that also we have seen. So what we have discussed here is about the slope of the graph, what we get by finding the slope of the distance or displacement time graph, and also what we obtained when we find the area under the displacement or distance time graph. These two things we will discuss for each and every graph, for velocity time graph as well as for distance or displacement time graph. So what we are going to discuss? We are going to discuss about the slope of the graph and the area under the graph. So let us begin. The slope of the displacement time graph. Slope of distance or displacement time graph. What does it mean? Distance or displacement time graph. So slope means, first let us draw the graph. So this is our, suppose, displacement represented by S or distance also. So this is distance or displacement versus time graph. Okay. Now suppose we are having a second case. Suppose the object is moving with uniform speed. Object is moving with uniform speed. Means the speed is constant. Then what type of graph we get? We get a graph which is a straight line. Okay. Which is a straight line inclined at some angle with the time axis. So this type of graph we get. We have already discussed it. So when distance or displacement time graph, we plot the graph in a case when the object is moving with uniform speed or constant speed, then we get a straight line which may or may not pass through the origin. And also this straight line always makes some slope or always makes some angle with the positive time axis. Okay, this is our time axis and this graph is making some angle, okay, between 0 to 90 degree. So this is called the angle or the slope. This is the slope, the tan of this theta, the tan of this angle. If you take the tan of this angle, then that is called the slope of the graph. Tan means the trigonometric function, that is tan theta. This is called the slope. And one more simple definition of slope is, the slope is also defined as the change in y coordinate. It is defined as the ratio of change in y coordinate to the change in x coordinate. So we can see here change in y coordinate means on y axis we have plotted the distance or displacement. So change in y coordinate that means change in distance or displacement. So change in y coordinate means change in distance, that is S, change in distance or displacement. And change in x coordinate means the change in x coordinate. X coordinate means that we have plotted the time on x axis. So that's why change in x coordinate will give you the change in time. So change in x distance or displacement to the change in time. Change in time. And you know that this is the slope. Okay, this is the definition of slope. It is the ratio of there are two definitions of slope. This is mathematical definition, means the graph which is making some angle theta with the positive time axis. The tangent of that angle, that tan theta, that is also called a slope. And one more definition is slope is also defined as the ratio of change in y coordinate to the change in x coordinate. Okay, when we go from initial point of the graph to the final point of the graph. Okay, this is the final distance corresponding to final point, and this is the final time corresponding to the final point of the graph. Okay, so when we go from initial to final point of the graph, we have to see the change in y coordinate, means change in distance or displacement, and also change in x coordinate, that is the change in time. So this ratio is known as the slope of this graph. And slope, what we will get? Change in distance or displacement means the change in distance means distance. We will get the distance only. Okay, how we will get the change? Final distance minus initial distance. This is the final distance and this is the initial distance. So when we will subtract these two distances, we will get only distance. Okay, and change in time means time. So distance divided by time is called speed. Distance divided by time is known as speed, or displacement divided by time is known as velocity. So this is the important thing that we are getting from the slope of displacement or distance time graph. If we find the slope of distance time graph, then we get the speed. Okay, and if we find the slope of displacement time graph, then we get velocity of the body. This is the importance of this is the importance of finding the slope of distance or displacement time graph.